Hey there! How are you? Welcome to Supercharged Fridays, the place to be every single Friday. Can you believe we've been going live 47 weeks straight without excuses, without any reason to stop, and we are not stopping. We were just getting started. How are you? Come in the comments. Tell us where you are. Tell us how it's going. As you can see, there's some ridiculous stuff going on with a Christmas jumper. And I happen to read somewhere that today is a crazy Christmas jumper day, which is a coincidence because I had not planned it. But here we are. And as you know, we've got Hannah Morgan in the house, who is a very experienced, brilliant career strategist, job search strategist. So I'm going to bring her on. And I'm wondering, because I know there's a little bit of a delay between going live and LinkedIn actually knowing we're live, but put it in the comments. What do you think Hannah has got on in terms of Christmas accessory? Because I've got my, as you can see, my snowman jumper. I wonder what she's got on. So take a guess. Hi, Risto. Hey, Ira. Lovely to see you. Take a guess what she's wearing. Do you think it's an outfit? Do you think it's an accessory? What kind of accessory? While you do that, I'm just going to say hi. Hi, Gandharv. Lovely to see you. So without further ado, we have the one and only. Oh my gosh. If this doesn't get your Christmas spirit, look at this background. Look at Hannah's face. Like, look at her
Ho,
ears.
ho, ho! Here we go. Ready?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely ready. So, Hannah, you're such a good sport. Welcome, huge welcome to Supercharged Fridays.
It's so great to be here, Sonal. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Um, yeah, it's
You've got some
yeah.
swag.
Oh, I got some swag. Yeah, and I'm so doing self promotion here. So come in, guys. Lovely to see you. I'm gonna give a quick shout out because we have so much stuff to talk about today, and I can't wait to get started. Ira, Kamal, Inda, Lou, Vinay, Mohib, Naveen, Sam, Gandharv, Risto. How are you? Wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And as you know, we're gonna talk about, as usual, we talk about stuff on Supercharged Fridays that nobody tends to talk about. Today, I particularly am excited because Hannah has unfiltered, uncensored thoughts. And uh, it's one of the reasons I wanted Hannah here today. Because Hannah, I'm going to give you a second to introduce you. But I also wanted to say Hannah's been doing the HR stuff, let's say HR. She's been on the HR scene for about 30 years. So I think, when you've been working this long, there's very few things that surprise you because you've been there a little bit, been there, done that. But there will be things that frustrate you, like frustrate the heck out of you when it comes to things that you see happening around you. So those are kind of the things we're going to talk about. And as Virginia Franco, I don't know if Virginia's watching, but as she said, it's the unvarnished truth. We're going to get the paint out. So without further ado, Hannah, very warm welcome. And for those who may be seeing you for the first time today, would love for you to introduce yourself.
I'm happy to introduce myself, and I'm really excited. And the other thing that I'm going to say, I'm going to hijack this for a second. If people have like burning job search questions, they can absolutely put those in the chat because we'll
Oh yeah.
be checking those out.
Oh
So
yeah.
here is a little bit about me. My name is Hannah. I live in upstate New York, and what I do is I help job seekers understand how to look for work better. I have been in this job search strategist kind of role for more years than I want to tell you. I got started in human resources and help people navigate to new jobs inside the company, advocated for them, but ultimately was also known as the angel of death. So when people were being fired, I was there as the HR person to help make that happen. And that's how I really got started in this field. And I've grown. I've done a lot of different things since then. And I think one of the things that makes this so much fun for me is that, and I've said this in a couple of other podcasts, I never knew that you could be a career coach, right? That I didn't know that that was an occupation. So when I discovered it shortly, after I'd been in human resources, somebody said, "Hey, you should look at this job." I'm like, "Oh, okay. And that's how I fell into it. And I've been doing it ever since. And I love, love, love it. And I think that I'm always learning something new. I'm learning about new industries, new occupations, following trends, all that stuff. And so that really energizes me. So that's another reason why I love this.
Awesome. So, in case somebody missed it, you were not listening to a hard metal band name, Angel of Death. That's not that's not what it was. Hannah was describing the job of an outplacement coach, which is horrible. I've been on the other side. Hannah was the HR business partner, and these, oh my gosh, these outplacement coaches, huge, generous, big-hearted, but also heart of steel, because they have to hold it while the other person is probably living one of the worst days of their life. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been told you don't have a job anymore. Hannah would be one of those people who'd be standing outside waiting, take you, pick up the pieces with you, and help you get yourself organized all over again. So hats off to all the people who do what, who do what Hannah did for the longest time. And Hannah's site is called careersherpa.com. .net, I'm sorry.
It is .net, careersherpa.net.
Okay, give me a second. I can't believe I messed that up. I'm gonna fix that right now. But if you don't, if you haven't heard of Career Sherpa, I highly recommend you check it out. It's totally worth it because Hannah, you do this, you share everything. There's some people who are like, oh, I'm going to keep this, for my paid clients. You share everything, and that's one of the things I love about you. And if you check out careersherpa.net, yeah, I got it right.
Yeah.
uh, there's something called Summary Sunday, and
Oh, I love that.
I kind of started looking forward to it now because I've also kind of not as long as you, Hannah, but in HR, in careers, all of that stuff. There's very little things that surprise, but I'm so like fascinated by learning from other people who maybe have done it not as long as I have or longer than I have, but there's always a new viewpoint. So
Yeah.
check out that Summary Sunday. It's I don't know how long you spend on it, but I can see that it's hours and hours of research, and it's worth it.
It's like the top articles from the week. And that's what makes it fun, is because that does change all the time. There are new things happening, and so yeah. And it's all about job search, all the different aspects. So they're interviewing tips, LinkedIn tips, social media tips, networking tips, a little bit of everything, well-being tips. So all of those things that are important to job seekers, you'll find those in Summary Sunday.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Got some new faces as well. How are you guys? Lots of new faces here. Hey Lee, probably you know Lee Hannah, who's also one of the very great voices on LinkedIn. Mickey Lineni, Hamad Ilmi, hey G. Gandharv, I'm sorry about the mic. I hope because I can't hear the echo. And Hannah, by any chance, do you hear an echo?
I don't hear an echo either. And I was just going to check my mic to see if I am duplicating my work, but I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But thank you for pointing out, Gandharv. Hopefully the echo doesn't stay. Good books to read. Ah, okay. Wonderful. Mohit, hang in there. Hold that thought. We're getting started. We're going to get to your question. Yes, the Christmas spirit is exactly the idea. Hey, Lauren. Lovely to see you. So,
Hi.
yeah, yeah, it's
We
wonderful.
were just talking about you.
Yeah, exactly. We're having a lovely Christmas party here. Um, Hannah, so let's get started. I want to ask you so much. And the first thing I want to ask you is BC and AD, So we're not talking just because we're dressed in Christmas. We're not, just for our viewers, we're not talking about before Christ and Anno Domini. We're talking before COVID and after disease. For me, that's the new BC AD, right? So
Yes.
do you think, firstly, it's a leading question. Do you think there's been any change in how people look for jobs before COVID and now AD, after disease?
After disease. Yeah, and I remember like it was yesterday how the job market was booming and job seekers were feeling emboldened and empowered to leave their current employer and go find a better job. So there was a lot of optimism, and people who had been hunkered down for so long and holding on to a job they didn't really like were really ready to start making that change and go find something better that would pay more, that would be more of a career move, whatever. And that came to a screeching halt in February, March when COVID hit. So now the thing is, there's a small percentage of people who are still proactively looking for jobs. In other words, they're employed and looking because they can, right? But I've seen this whole shift and this echo in my head from job seekers saying, the job market is horrible. Nobody's hiring. And that might seem logical or true, but it's not that bad. As you mentioned, I lived the 2009 financial crisis, and I can tell you at that point in time, there were zero jobs posted for months and months and months. And what we are seeing now is at least there are jobs posted. I'm not saying that what you want, but there are jobs being posted, which means some industries, some business is doing well now. In 2009, nobody was doing well. So
Yeah.
at least there are industries like, fulfillment and shipping and technology like Zoom, all of the online learning, all of those things are doing well now, and they all need back end support. So if you're do accounting or finance or project management, all of that is still relevant.
Yeah. No, no, that's in fact, Hannah, they're booming. Like their EBITDA, their accounting, their numbers are through the roof. These are companies that are booming, particularly in the digital space, but not just. We just have to find it. And I love that you said that. Take accountability. Yes, it's not a
Mm.
great time. Take accountability. Stop whining.
Yeah.
Stop whining. Unprecedented times, challenging times. What is the other one I keep hearing? My God, it makes me want to barf. Yeah, we know that, Hannah. We know it's a
Right,
bad
right.
time. Don't have to. So there's something about overstating the obvious,
Mhm.
because we start believing it, and we start believing that it's.
Well, that's the problem, right? You create your own reality, right? And so anyone who has a background in neuro-linguistic programming, right, NLP believes that if you think positive things are going to happen. Put it out there in the universe. Of course you're going to get a job. Of course you're going to get a job next month. Just believe that, and then that becomes your new reality.
But there's science as well in it. Obviously, it's followed by action. You don't just sit on your bed watching Netflix and believe it. But there's science behind it, and positivity and negativity. So no, I love that you said that. So in that sense, what you're saying is it hasn't changed like a whole amount. Uh, it's maybe sometimes what the media makes it look like
Mhm.
in terms of job search. Are there fewer jobs? Maybe. It's not as bad as 2009. I was not around, like I wasn't working, because I heard about the 1987 crash. If some people were around, you can put it in the comments. I heard that was really bad. It was the fuel
Yeah.
crisis. I
Mhm.
see it on Netflix with people's, like the
Yeah, I
crown.
lived through that one too. I was just about to graduate from college when that all went down, right? So
So
it was
college.
and that shift was for anyone who was in college. And my heart breaks for people who are just graduating last year and this year because it's devastating. But the same thing happened back in '87. They told us that when you just go to college, get a degree, and the employers will come on campus and hire you right on the spot. No need to do anything, right? That's what they told us. That's what we believed. But then '87 happened and no companies came to campus.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's exactly what, Hamad, that's exactly what we're saying. We got to be careful about the consumption, particularly of content and advice. Who is giving us that advice? Have they lived through some stuff? Do they know what they're talking about? Because people, I think Dorothy Dalton had a post on LinkedIn. She did a search for coach or career coach or LinkedIn coach. Millions in result. So not thousands, but millions. So who calls you a coach? Did you work in it, or is it starting March 2020, right?
Right.
So, no, that's a great point. um Wonderful. I love seeing an engaged audience. You guys are amazing. Lauren, you're saying that the switch between the low to now high unemployment rate flipped the supply demand paradigm. There's a lot going on, and it's sort of below the surface. We need to sort of swim and get in there. So Hannah, talk to us about what you see. I hate the word should. I don't like that word. But let's say what you wish job seekers would do a little bit more of completely uncensored. I'd love to give me your juicy stuff that you haven't said in any podcast or in any live stream. And you're like, I wish somebody would ask me. And here I am asking you, what should they be doing less of? What should they be doing more of? We already kind of touched upon it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more where that came from.
So I have I've run job clubs and I've delivered boot camps over the past years of my career, right? And one of the things that always floors me, and I'm betting there's some people here today that are thinking this too, when they start their job search, they say, I just want a job. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this or this. Any of that would work. I'm open. See, that doesn't work. It is too general, too broad. It is you, the job seeker, who must determine where you fit. This is not a matchmaking service. If you can't tell somebody exactly where you want to go and why, they can't help you. They don't want you, right? That's the one thing I wish everybody knew. And the problem is that it's hard work, right? You don't know that out of the gate, because if you did know that out of the gate, you would have already been saying that. The idea is to do not keep your options open. You have a specific desire of what you want to do. Be specific and tell people that, and go get it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I don't want people coming to me because they need marketing advice. So the point is, they will never do it because I don't give that message. So if you want people coming to you for a certain niche, then first of all, position yourself in that niche. Otherwise, why would somebody go to a doctor and say, I need help with, I don't know, with my accounting? So you're not for everyone, right? You're not for everyone. I'm guessing, Hannah, the exception to that would be someone, I'm not sure if you agree with me, but someone who's just graduating, because you said you graduated in 1987, the big oil crisis that some of us have read about, some of us have lived through. But someone who's graduating, they have no clue and nobody's really hiring. Would you kind of agree that the more open they are and they
Yes,
say yes
that's
to everything?
that's the exception, because unless they know what they want to do, your job fresh out of college is to get work experience. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter where,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you just need some frame of reference, right? That first job can be almost anything if you don't know what you want to do, because from that job, you're going to learn, ooh, I love sitting at a desk all day, or I don't like working with these people, or oh, this math stuff is really cool. You will be exposed to a lot of different types of jobs by working with a company, even if that place isn't, and that job isn't your dream job. It's what you've learned from that that you will allow you to springboard to what's next.
No, that's a great point. And Ira, to your point, my heart is with you when you say you've just graduated as a fresh graduate. People are looking for work from home interns. They've never done that, Ira.
I
It's
know.
funny that we live in 2020 and it took a pandemic to shake the world. But you can look at it as a bad thing or you can look at it as an asset.
It
And
really is. It opens up a whole realm of opportunities that we didn't have access to before.
yeah,
And here's the other thing that I will suggest. If I couldn't remember her name, I can't say it, but
Ira.
Ila, if you really want to work for a company, or you know what kind of thing you want to do next and you can't find that, reach out to people inside companies that do something similar and say, hey, I have a proposal for you. I would love to do a project for you all as an internship. I'm great at at analyzing data and Excel spreadsheets. So if you have any data about your customers that you need me to analyze, I could do that for you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. Hi, Tegan. It's great to see you. No, what is that expression, Hannah? The squeaky wheel gets
Yeah.
the oil. You
Yep.
make a noise, you make an ask, you ask for what you want, you're gonna get it. If you don't ask, forget it. No one's asking for you.
Yeah.
um I love that every time you nod your head I can hear your answers. It's reminding me of Christmas. I feel so good. Even though it's a different Christmas this year, but
I know. So let's
Absolutely.
go back to the original question. So
Yes.
I want job seekers to be really clear about what they want to do next. And it's okay that you don't know the answer. So what I want people to spend more time doing is figuring out that answer. And you do that by starting with your inner circle of friends and family and asking them, hey, what do you see me doing next? I'm not sure what I want to do. I know I like doing these three things, blah, 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 but I don't know how to do that. And I don't know where that might fit. Do you have any ideas? So if you ask your inner circle what they might see you doing, you could then say, well, do you know anybody who does that I could talk to about what that's like in an informational meeting?
Yeah.
And that is how it all gets started. It's a process of elimination, right? You've got to
Yeah. Yeah.
learn what
Yeah.
else is out
Absolutely.
there.
No, exactly. And if you don't ask, the answer is always no. That's very
Right.
true. Naveen, I would say go for it. If they say they don't have a budget,
Mm.
Hannah, what do you think about unpaid?
Yeah, it really depends. If it's a great gig and you're going to learn some valuable skills from doing it, I don't love the idea of an unpaid internship. I think it's
Mhm.
taking advantage of people.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if it's a good company or it's a great opportunity to learn new things,
Yeah.
it's your call.
Naveen, I don't love the idea when it's a company with deep pockets. Okay, I call BS. I call it's greedy. It's slave labor. I'm sorry. I've been very open on it in LinkedIn. But if it's an up and coming startup and you think there's a future there, or you could get something on your resume with it, then do it. But obviously you have to be the one who takes the call. Awesome. So what do you wish, Hannah? This is the meat of the whole thing that we're talking about today. When I introduced you, I said, you've been around the block. There's very few things that raise your eyebrows, and you're like, really? And but at the same time, there will be things that make you go, that you can trust exactly, and that make your antlers go, clink clink. So tell us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about that. Like, what do you wish they asked you more today that they're still not asking, not enough at least?
So here is my biggest wish of all. I wish that people, the working people, never stop looking for their next job,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Even if you're happy where you are today.
Yes. Yep.
Tell us, I know where you're coming from, but tell us where you're coming from.
If you know, as we all should know, that that job that you have next will not last till the day you die, then that makes you realize, oh shoot, if I have to find a new job, what do I really want to do next? And what can I do to position myself amongst the people who could open up those doors for me? Who do I need to know? If that's the new mindset, and it's an inquisitive mindset, it's not a desperation, I need a new job, it's an inquisitive, who do I need to know to keep me learning, to keep me top of my game, to keep top of mind, then that just flips the switch and empowers. Again, I'm all about empowering people. I want people to feel empowered. And that can happen when you are always of the mindset, hey, that sounds like a cool job. Let me apply. Or, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me talk to that person.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. In fact, yeah, Hamad, I have to be honest here. There's one point that, Hannah, what you're saying, I think I made this mistake. When a lot of us who are actively job hunting are coming to these live streams, they're listening to the lucky live streams and podcasts are great. When I was job hunting, this was 5 years ago, I didn't hear a lot of live streams and podcasts on this topic. So it was a bit more lonely, let's say.
Hmm.
But the thing is, I was subscribing to job alerts, whether it's LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever. The moment I got the job, I unsubscribed from those things. And people I had reached out to, Hannah, for advice, like ex-boss, old colleagues, etc. It became a few years since after that I spoke to them again, because I was like, I don't need it. So I think that, yeah, and there's a couple of people I know, Hannah, who've been coming to the live stream almost every week this entire year. They found a job because they say they got great tips on the live stream, but a lot of them have disappeared. I've never seen them again. A couple of them have come back. So the ones that have come back, I want to say you guys are winners. You're doing exactly what Hannah is saying. You never stop looking. You never stop saying, my well has enough water now. I'm not thirsty anymore. You might get thirsty really soon.
Yeah. Yeah. For so true.
No. So that's kind of coming to the point, Hamad, with what you're saying, which is kind of taking it, leveraging LinkedIn, not only when you're desperate and you need it. And we talk about LinkedIn a lot on Supercharge Fridays. And I did a whole live stream last week helping two job seekers with a live audit of their LinkedIn profile. But I think that's, Hamad, that's the thing. One of the jobs that people like you and I have is to educate people on the gold. There's gold, hidden gold sitting here, not even hidden. It's in front of our eyes
Right.
when it comes to leveraging LinkedIn. Or any tips on that, Hannah, that
Well,
people can
LinkedIn
do?
is a really great time saver, especially for those that are working, right? Because you do not need to go to a physical location to meet somebody for coffee to meet new people. You can meet new people on LinkedIn. And I would say the one thing that I say to people is if you are actively job seeking, you need to show up and be active on LinkedIn every single day because that's how you're going to meet people and that's how you're going to build a presence that people inside companies might discover. So I really challenge everybody to think about Monday through Friday, what one post related to your industry or your occupation can you share that's going to show that you are keeping up with what's going on in your business, that you know what's going on, and adds your take on why you are sharing that article. If that sounds undoable, then pare it back to 3 posts per week. But one of the things you must do, which is more important than almost posting, is comment on articles written by people in your industry or occupation. That's how you're going to meet people. That's how you're going to stay in touch. And that's how your name gets on their radar.
And it's not a coincidence if your name gets on their radar. You got to be strategic about it. And that literally means, like Hannah said, okay, 3 times a week, what am I going to focus on? What is the message that's coming? Because Hannah commented, or Sonal commented, or Ira Pandey commented. What is that message? So just be mindful of it, and it's not kind of like bullets here and there, and they don't look like there's any alignment. I mean, at the end of the day, you know what you stand for. This is the position you're looking for as a job seeker. You're not for everyone, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you're not for everyone. So wonderful. Lee has a great point here, Hannah. At some point or the other, people might be like, yeah, should I be investing? It's a lot of money and I'm
It
not
is.
sure I'm ready for it. There's a bunch of people out there. And Risto, you're very right. There's no kind of certification. Anybody can say they're a coach, and that's more than enough. But
Right.
where do you see that?
Well,
What is that point?
yeah. I recently saw a couple of great articles on how to identify a good career coach. And I think the Muse might have written one,
Okay.
and the Balanced Careers might have written one. So we might have to find those and
Google
include those
those,
links.
please. Yeah.
But I will say, if you needed a good mechanic to work on your car because your car wouldn't run, what would you do? You would ask
Mm,
people,
mm,
hey, who's a good
mm,
mechanic?
mm.
I don't know. That's the exact same thing that I want people to do that are looking for a career coach. Hey, have you ever used a career coach? I'm looking for one. Who do you know?
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And I literally was thinking the same thing the other day. I had a problem with my sink. It was clogging. I think it might be time for a plumber. And first thing, a friend down the road. Everybody needs a plumber. So it's more about references and obviously tried and tested. And if it's somebody that you haven't tried before, check out what they do. If they're not active on LinkedIn, for example, and they call themselves a career coach, I don't know. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but maybe I am. I'm like, it's like saying, I'm all about like makeup or fitness, but I don't have anything on Instagram. Like it's time to get started when it comes to social media because there's a power behind it. And I'm not saying just randomly showing up on LinkedIn because of horse videos or cat videos, but real like they're sharing their work because how can you know
Yeah.
about what they do?
And they honestly should have a website too, right? So, because that's the thing you really want.
Legitimate, if they have a legitimate business and not something they opened up
Yeah.
in March 2020.
Right, or they're not really committed to that. Like they do it on the side and they do something else. So I think that if you if you find a few names or you get a few names, then it's just like any other purchasing of services, you need to do your due diligence and evaluate the person based on what they put online on their website, and have a phone conversation before you pay for anything. So, I give kudos and hats off to anybody that is brave enough to say, yes, I need the help. I can't do this on my own. Because it is an investment, and most people are not willing to do that. So the fact that you are tells us
Yeah,
something about you,
yeah.
Sarah.
No, I think so. And I think that a coach, in fact, my coach told me, by asking for help, you have already won half the battle, because you've given the you've sort of, with that commitment, you've sent a signal to your brain that, okay, I mean business now, like this is happening. I'm going to be doing something about it. So no, that's a great point. And Tegan, you're very right. The juice is always in the comments. So if you're like, oh, I'm not ready to post content yet, yeah, baby steps, don't worry. But just like what Hannah said, something that you liked, a piece by McKinsey or an article by Harvard Business or whatever, you see those are the places, those are the watering holes that people are hanging out. The juice is always in the comments. I've always said that. That's where the real party is. The
Yeah,
party looks like the party is the post, but the real party, where all
it's
the
down
fun
in
is
the
happening,
comments.
it's in the comments. So join the party. Don't be shy. You can be in your pajamas.
I
Nobody cares.
I had a woman tell me, because one of the things I posted on LinkedIn was about, share more, leave engaging comments on people's posts. And she's like, I've been trying to do that. It's not working. So I went over and looked at her profile and looked at her activity, which everybody can see, by the way. And she had only liked people's comment or liked content. And I wrote her back and I said, I didn't see any comments. I see that you've liked a bunch of stuff, but that's not the same as leaving engaging comments. So I, I think people get frustrated because it's not working for them, but I think they need to get another person's advice. Why do you think this isn't working? Well, maybe you're not doing it right.
No, yeah, you're right. And I think you raised two very good points here, Hannah. First of all, in case you don't know this, everyone can see what you do on LinkedIn. There is no such thing as private profile. So in your activity section, by the way, I use this rule sometimes when I'm accepting connection requests. If I see weird stuff happening in the comment section, I'm like, yeah, I'm not, yeah, you have 3 followers and you have some objectionable content on LinkedIn
Right.
that you liked it.
Yeah.
So the point is, your activity is public. The second thing is, likes are lazy. Don't be a lazy liker. I think
That's your quote. Don't be a lazy liker.
don't be a lazy liker. And Lauren says this: likers are lurkers. So don't be a liker lurker person. Liker
Yeah.
lurker. Try saying that fast. Liker lurker. Try and be that person that is in the middle of the party and having fun and asking somebody, hey, this was
Tell
a
me
great
more
post.
about that.
Tell me more about this. I'd love to. I love what you said, and this is the reason I like your post. Reason one, reason two. That's it. People are like, ooh, you're so much more interesting than great post,
Yeah.
nice post, or worst, an emoji with nothing. Use your words.
Yeah. Use your words.
Use your words. That's what we tell our kids. Use your
Use
words.
your words.
You've got some language, and if English is not your first language, doesn't matter. There's a translate tool right there. Put it in your native
Yeah.
language. Doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but just say something.
Yeah.
So no, that's a great point. Um, Tegan,
Ooh, you know what? That LinkedIn user, a job coach could be a great Christmas or Hanukkah present. That's a really good point. You
yeah.
may ask for, if you need a coach, go do your research, find the coach, and then tell your family, hey, if you want to get me something for Christmas, this is it.
Exactly. No, that's a great point. And some people have been commenting on LinkedIn as well. If you want to give somebody, a gift, don't just give material things all the time. They'll be forgotten. And this year, I think people have realized the last thing they need is more things. What they
Right.
need is the right experiences. I'm just trying to find out this person's name because it's a pity. Bob. Hey, Bob McIntosh. You're
Where's
the
Bob? Hey,
mysterious
Bob.
He's the mysterious LinkedIn user. Bobby, in your privacy settings, you look like a spy right now. You gotta change your privacy settings, and it's great to see you here. I was wondering who's this person with all these smart comments. Obviously, it was Bob. So, no, that's wonderful. Um, Hannah, what
Yes.
else? Tell me what else, because I'm sure there's a laundry list more like where that came from in terms of things that can frustrate you. with the different seasons. One thing is
Mm,
never stop looking for a job, even
right.
if you're really happy where you are today.
Right.
What?
The other thing that I will say is that the holiday season that we are in the middle of right now is a great time to job search. And let me tell you why. I've got like so many different examples. One woman said to me, Hannah, I applied for a job well before the holidays. It was probably the beginning of November. And I was persistent in following up with them after Thanksgiving into December. And they called me for the interview and ultimately the job offer because I was the only one responding. Nobody else, none of the other candidates had responded to them because they had tuned out for the holidays, right? So be wary, right? Know that you could get it just because you're the only one who's responding in a timely manner.
Yeah, yeah,
The other
yeah.
thing that I will say is that it is quite possible you're not going to see a lot of job offers between now and the end of the year. But what happens when those companies who have new budgets open up in January? They are ready to hire and they're doing everything they can right now to queue those jobs up so that when January comes and they get their new budget, they can just make all of those things happen. They can schedule the final interview or extend offers. So for umpteen billion reasons, maintain your job search momentum. It takes so much energy to get this thing going, this engine moving. Do not stop. You
Yeah.
might not see jobs to apply for, which is absolutely fine because that's another one of my pet peeves. I hate it when people tell me I applied to 30 jobs and haven't heard anything. Well, stop applying to 30 jobs. Apply to one job and find 5 insiders that you can talk to. Just
Working hard versus working smart. Don't work hard like a donkey and feel like you deserve your 3 seasons of The Crown on Netflix too soon. Too soon. You can reward yourself with that, but work a little bit more smartly. And I think what you're saying, Hannah, it's more about the depth than the breadth.
it is.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you find 30 jobs that are all a perfect fit, you've got your work cut out for you,
I
right?
doubt it. I doubt it because
Right.
there's going to be some objectionable quality in there which may not suit you. So the word of the day is targeted, right? One of the many words of the day, it's targeted. The more targeted you are, the more specific you are, the better it is that it's going to serve you.
And your
Um,
resume doesn't get you a job. I'm just saying.
your resume gets you in the foot of the door of the interview with something people don't. I think a lot of people take that for granted. That's a great point.
Right. And oh, by the way, another way you could get your foot in the door for an interview is by knowing somebody who works inside the company. In that case, you don't even really need an interview. So there are many ways to get your foot in the door for an interview that don't include using a resume.
Exactly. So let's say, for example, Hannah, let's say somebody watching today. Okay, my target company is Google. Okay, do I know someone in Google? I look on LinkedIn. I don't know anybody first degree connection on Google. Okay, but it's not over. Do you know someone who knows someone on Google? No. But do you know someone who knows someone who knows someone? Yes, yes, there has to be, unless you're living under a rock. So take advantage of it. If they've heard if they've heard from you after a long time, ease into it. You don't just be like, "Hey, Hannah," and you're like, "Oh, it's been 10 years. Hannah, can you help me?" No. Use your emotional intelligence. How have you been? I'm not saying you
Be
butter them up.
human. Yes. Be
Be
kind.
human, be
Yes.
kind, listen to them. They might have a problem that you could help out with, and which is great because then it makes it a bit more equal. You're not like, oh, I'm the person asking for the favor. It gets more sort of, you feel good about yourself when you help someone, and people are so helpful right now. And Bob McIntosh was on LinkedIn Live a couple of weeks ago. People are like, what can I do? Like they're just asking, what can I do to help? So answer them. Say, hey, if you don't ask, like we said, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Right.
And don't hesitate so much. Mridula, you raised a very interesting point, and I want to talk about that because Hannah said the same thing. So 5 years, I posted on this. I don't know if you saw it because my LinkedIn, the algorithm seems to be completely like hating on me right now. So I 5 years ago, no, 7 years ago, I had taken a break. 8 years ago, taken a break with a second child, and I was finding it very difficult, Hannah, to get back to work.
Yeah.
And Mridula, this also touches upon your point on Oof, what is there? Different rules for women returners. It's more like we've had a lobotomy.
Lobotomy rather than child, right?
Oh no, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I've been through my share of that. I'm not saying this will help you. Maybe it helps you, but I'm not saying this is the answer. But to what Hannah said, I was very receptive in the month of December 2013. And there was a company with whom it looked like it might be going further. And then, we were taking a break. Remember those days when we could travel? We're taking a break. We went back to India for 3 weeks. And I was in touch with the headhunter the whole time, including the hiring manager, who was the chief HR officer, who ended up becoming my boss. I wished him on, we wished each other on New Year's Eve. We kept in touch. I got that job. And I'm pretty sure the lack of competition helped because people weren't available. They were in places where there was no Wi-Fi connection, whatever. Just figured it out. We've got technology to help us.
Yeah.
And just
It's
thought,
so hard for women to re-enter the job market, and it takes a special strategy to re-enter the market for anybody, but women need, because women sort of lack that confidence as well in general, and so we've got a couple of things stacked against us. The best I could say is what women do have is a strong network, so tap into the power of your friends and your extended friends and family and say, hey, I'm really looking to get back into the job market. I'm looking for something like this. What do you know about?
yeah, no, that's a great point. And I think that Mridula, and I know this from personal experience as well, your confidence goes out for a toss because you feel the world has moved ahead and you are still, where you were. And one of the things that you can tap, which Hannah said in terms of part of your network, I wish this was not only women. I wish men were taking long paternity breaks and but so the thing is tap into your husband's network as well. Uh,
Yes.
what the hell is it there for? So take advantage of it. There's different places, and it's also a great point to, and we're going to link the article in the comment. When is the right time to look for a coach? Because if you're going to be doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, then it's the definition of
Of
Einstein
ins
of insanity, which we don't want for you. We don't want anybody to turn completely insane. So no, that's wonderful. So quick summary: never stop looking for a job. And sorry, what was the second point?
um, be
Yeah.
specific, targeted.
Targeted. Yeah, yeah. G, you're paying attention. Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I just want to jump because I think there's a couple of comments that people have been really patient with, and I appreciate you guys hanging out and waiting. So, Gandharv, you're saying to start a new job could take every breath of you to make a cut through the desire. Stakes are high. How do I counter vulnerability and susceptibility of career problems thrown at me by friends or family, particularly at certain times of the year, where people are like getting together. Maybe they're not getting together because of COVID, but people, they have a bit more time on their hands. And
Yeah,
they don't mean to hurt, sometimes Gandhar, but it's also boredom. Like, hey, what's happening?
I
What's
think it's
going
up
on?
to us, right? Every individual needs to communicate better about how they are feeling and what they need. People are not mind readers. Your friends and family are not asking you to do stuff because they want to get in your way or tear you away from work. They love you. So it's up to us, the individuals, to communicate clearly. I would love to get together with you, but for the next several months, I'm really swamped. I'm working in this new job and I really need to dive in. So if we can all agree to give me my freedom to do that, I promise after that we can get back to what we used to do. But I have to do this. So it's communicating that with your friends, your family. I need the space. I need to be left alone while I'm doing this for right now.
Yeah, no, that's great. And Gandharv, eyes on the prize. Eyes on the prize. When you've got your eyes on the prize, when you're hungry, somebody posted on LinkedIn yesterday, when you're hungry, you're focused. You want food. If your pleasure centers are busy because of Netflix and YouTube and notifications with dopamine, you're distracted. Eyes on the prize. If you know what you want, you go to bed thinking the same thing. You wake up thinking the same. I'm not saying become obsessive, compulsive, psychopath, but focus. Focus on it because that's the biggest currency today. Focus, complete attention, and focus.
And I think we have to be open and honest with our friends and family as well. Especially during job search when we are unemployed, we need their love and support more than ever. And they are afraid. I remember when my husband was unemployed, I was almost more afraid than he was. And so every day I would be asking him, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He's like, "Don't worry, I got it under control." I'm like, "No, no, 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 that's not helping me. Help me understand what you're doing." Right? So our friends and family are going to be there to support us, but you have to give them what they are asking for. You want them to feel like they can support you and give them information so they know what's going on. It's a valuable life lesson for everybody in your family.
Oh yeah, totally, totally agree with you. Hey David, that's a great point. There's no such thing as a perfect resume CV. There's no such thing as a perfect job. There's going to be parts of your job you love. There's going to be parts of your job you'd rather not do. And the third I want to say is, Hannah, I'm sure you agree. There's no such thing as a perfect job candidate. They don't exist.
No, 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 no. Companies, employers make compromises all the time, right? That job description is oftentimes a wish list. Like, if we could get all this, I don't even know if it
Yeah,
exists, but this is what we
yeah.
think we want. And they don't know. They have no idea.
When I think of job descriptions, I think of a teenager. Like, oh, my perfect life partner, tall, and this and that, and doctor, this much income. Yeah, yeah. That person doesn't
That's not
exist.
what you ended up with.
The point is that person doesn't exist. What matters is there's no such thing as a perfect person. Are you perfect for each other? Similarly, the job and you are the pieces fit together. It doesn't mean that the job is completely perfect. It
No.
doesn't happen.
No, but it might be, and I often say, if you've been in a very traumatic relationship, you sometimes need a tweener relationship, something that's fun, carefree, to help you get ready for that next great love. And I think that's true for job seekers too. So if you've worked for one company for a number of years and you suddenly found yourself laid off due to COVID, I would say go get any job. I don't even care what it is.
Yeah,
Just get another job. It's like having that tweener relationship. Have some fun, meet some new
yeah,
people to
yeah,
prepare you to get more confidence built so you can then go on and find your next great love.
yeah. Exactly. Like Risto says, what is my next job? What is the next job my recent job is a springboard for? And we did a whole session with him, which is brilliant. Which there's a lot of free content on LinkedIn. If you can't afford or you don't know if it's the right time to get a coach, don't get a coach, but first take advantage of what's out there, and blogs like careersherpa.com and Risto and Bob McIntosh and Jack Kelly, lots of great folks who are talking about careers. Keep in touch with them, keep in touch with this, and don't just use it now because you need it, but even when you think you don't need it anymore. Yeah, that's a great point. Hannah, there was a question which I can't find. It was sometime in the beginning, and this person was asking about uh, books. If you could recommend. Yeah. Hey, Mohib, if you're still around, suggest some books to
Oh,
read.
the books, right? So I'm not really a huge book reader. I'm more of a blog reader because what I find is that oftentimes books are outdated by the time they're published.
Yeah.
So I'm reading a lot of great authors. I've got my whole bookshelf here.
How convenient.
I know. I'm trying to. I should have them all pulled out.
While you're looking, Hannah, so Mahib, what I want to say is that I completely agree with Hannah. There's nothing wrong with books, but they're compressed wisdom in blogs, which is years and years of experience in one blog or two blogs. So take advantage of that. Let's
So
see.
yeah, I could pull every book out on my shelf, but
But
this
your favorite ones.
this is
60
Robin
seconds.
Ryan, 60 Seconds and You're Hired. This is a classic. This is something that you want on your desk before every interview.
Who's the author? Robin Ryan.
Robin Ryan.
Robin Ryan. 60 seconds and you're hired. Please take notes. If somebody could be kind and put it in the comments. And the other one.
And for all of those introverts out there, I want you to better understand why you're an introvert and what that means, because it doesn't mean what you think it means. Susan
Exactly.
Cain, The Power of Quiet. You can see I've dog-eared this with lots of,
Oh
so
yes. No, that's a great point. And Bob, if Bob is here, we talked about introversion and extroversion for a
yeah.
long time in the live
Yeah.
stream two
And
two
I'm an
weeks ago.
introvert. I don't like talking to people. I get my energy from being alone and thinking in my head, but I do enjoy talking to people one-on-one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you would never have guessed. I would never have guessed that Hannah's an introvert, but it also shows that our definitions of introversion and extroversion may be wrong. So
Right.
go out there and see those definitions, and don't use that if you're an introvert today. Don't use it as an excuse. to not getting stuff
Right,
done.
right, right, right. So What Color Is Your Parachute is another classic that is definitely, it's been re-edited and updated, but that's a very, very good one. And Dr. Don Graham's Switchers is about switching careers, so that's another good one too.
Ah, okay, okay, wonderful. That's fabulous. Great. So let's see. So I think there's a few. I hope there's no questions that I missed. If you have questions and I missed them, please put them again because I'm sort of trying to keep up with the comments. Hi Ashish, what are your recommendations in sharing skills, online certifications on LinkedIn so it doesn't look like you're self-promoting? What do you think, Hannah?
Um, I, I think there is a way to say, this is what I learned while taking this course. I'm really excited to use those new skills in my next role or whatever, and then share that certificate. I don't think it's necessarily self-promotional. It's more about, I did this, celebrate with me. And I think that's the feel that you want. You want people to say, oh my gosh, that's great. Good for you for completing that. Or
Yeah.
not to share it at all and just put it in your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Hannah, you had a brilliant post some months ago. I mean, most of your posts are brilliant, but this particular one I remember because I took a screenshot of it. You had a content calendar for 30 days. It was so good. And it was like, talk about this day one, day two, day three. Very simple. It doesn't mean you go on the hamster wheel of content creation. No, she was like 5, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes a day. And I saw G saying hours a day. You don't have to do it unless you like it, G. But obviously, then you also have to get to work.
Yeah,
One of the
20,
things you said,
25 inspiring posts for what to share on LinkedIn.
and one of them was, I think it was like once a month you can do a little bit of a brag, a humble brag. And Ashish, what I want to say is your intention matters. Is the intention, hey, look at me, oh, I'm so cool? It's more about, hey, this is what I've learned. And share, like, the written bit that you have should not be, look at my new certification. It's a bit, is there anything wrong with it? No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, what do you want to put out? Is it more, look at me? Then you put that out. If it's more about, this is what I learned, and others are like, ooh, Ashish learned that, I think that's a very cool thing. I wonder what that's about, right? Share it in that sense. So your intention matters. So no, that's a great point. All
These are
right.
great questions, everyone. Thank you.
I know. We have a lovely engaged audience. Mohib, you're very welcome. Now, Mohib, you make a promise to yourself. You didn't just ask this and you disappear. You're gonna go and read those books, okay? Read those books and put them into action. Otherwise, this is a waste of space. You can buy those books, but just make sure you read them, right? Otherwise, they're just gonna sort of gather dust. Uh, yes, Gandhar, we did a whole live stream on content on salary negotiation, which I link because that was like a whole hour and a half on just salary negotiation. But maybe Hannah, since you're here,
Can I just
any
say something about
yes,
salary
yes,
negotiation? Because I think
yes.
it's so important to still know that you can, even in the middle of a pandemic, you can still negotiate a starting salary or starting elements of a job. So if it's not salary, then it could be sign-on bonuses, it could be vacation or PTO, it could be many different things. But you want to make sure that the job that you are accepting is the right terms for what you're looking for. And if you're going to take a job making so much less than you want, you're not going to be happy in that job and you're going to end up leaving. So I know we're in a pandemic, but there are a lot of companies, as we talked about earlier, that are doing really, really well right now. And I think, unless the company is in travel and tourism or retail or some of those other airlines, some of those industries that are really hurting, most
Hospitality. Yeah.
hospitality, most companies are doing okay right now. They're not fledgling. They're making do, right? So I would not think just because we're in a pandemic, you can't negotiate salary unless the company is really hurting. I
No,
would
that's great.
absolutely ask. It's a question. Isn't
It's a
it a
question.
question? If you don't ask, the answer is
The
always
answer
no.
is always no. And please don't listen to people who say, "Are you mad? You've got a job offer from them. You're lucky." Don't
Don't
listen to
listen.
that.
I had one of the women I was working with. God, I was so disappointed because I told her, one of the last things I told her before I got off the phone call with her is, be sure to ask for more money. And she's like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I just felt glad to have a job. I'm like, oh.
No, that's a great point. And then there for tips and tricks on that, definitely watch that. Click, do hashtag salary negotiation and hashtag Supercharge Fridays. You're gonna find it. So wonderful. A little bit of more like since you said something on to that effect, Hannah, because you work with lots of people, and I know that you work sometimes with very senior people as well. So talk to us about some success stories where they've got what they wished for. They've put in the work, but obviously, we don't need to know names, but what are some of the things they've been doing right?
So I had a guy reach out to me who had been in a very senior role, and he actually was in medical device technology space. So it was already very hot. Right. There was a
Yeah,
lot of demand for that. But
yeah,
he suddenly found himself without a job. And so he came to me and he's like, Hannah, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything the right way and that I'm being more modern about this job search. So these are some of my ideas. What would you suggest? What should I add to that? So one of the things that we looked at creating a target list of companies. I said, I want you to make a list of all the companies you want to work for. And that should be about 40 companies. And it needs to be that big because you want to make sure you get there early. And I said, then I want you to look through your network and see who you know inside of those companies, or people that you know that could introduce you. And so he immediately looked at his LinkedIn profile, looked at his emails, made all the matches, started reaching out immediately to all of those people and asking them for phone calls to catch up, just to catch up. Not that it was going to be anything more than that.
no
And so
agenda, no
no
agenda.
agenda. And he had a lot of phone calls. He then came back to me and said, Hannah, I want to do more. I want to be more active on LinkedIn, and I want to build more of an online presence. So we did a couple of things together, and and he became more active on LinkedIn, and he's still active on LinkedIn to this day. So, he embraced networking, and he had industry contacts, which was already a real bonus. It made it so much easier. He knew that he could reach out to these people because he'd maintained contact with them. It was easier for him.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And guys, it's not eureka type of stuff. We know this stuff, but you actually have to go and do it. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's maybe only uncomfortable in your head
And
because
I think if we
ego.
change the mindset that I'm not asking for a job, right? That is not
Catch
your
up.
purpose of calling people and reaching out to people. Your purpose is first and foremost to reconnect with them, reestablish your relationship professionally. Let
Yeah.
that be your goal and see what happens after that.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful point. Naveen, we're kind of racing through it, but I would say yes, you can say thank you, but you also can negotiate at the same time. So you can do both. You can be grateful for what you get in terms of salary negotiation, but you can also say, and there's a way to do it, and I'll link that stream. The main thing I want to say is ask nicely. Yeah, it sometimes doesn't even come down to what you're saying, 20%, 10%, 5%. It's about how you ask. So there's more where that came from. Hannah, sorry, you were saying?
No, I'm going to totally agree. It's the quality and tone of your voice. I really was hoping for more money
Yeah.
versus, gosh,
Or
that's
yeah, or there's that, what is the word? It's not blackmail, but it's like, I have the other offer. And
right.
I have a video on this on YouTube, Hannah. The comments in there are pure juice. Somebody wrote, these are great tips. I'm going to tell them I have another offer. I said, do you have another offer? No, I don't. I'm like, you were not watching my video. Like, go and rewatch that. You never lie. It is one of the, not the 10 commandments. I don't care about that. It's
It
more
will
about,
backfire. It will absolutely
it'll
backfire.
backfire because I used to be one of those pain in the backside recruiters who'd say, "Oh yeah, you did. You can blank it out. Can I please know what it is? Send it to me." And they're like, "Hey, I don't have to share it with you." The moment they say that, I know they're lying. I called
Right.
your bluff. I called your bluff. So don't ever
Yeah.
lie. And there's lots
Right.
of other tips. Hannah, what do you think about when you are, I'm not going to rewind to when you graduated college, but during those times when you've been hunting actively, maybe you were in a pickle, maybe it was the economy, or maybe something else that you wish you could tell Hannah from back then. What would it be?
So I didn't know what was available and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Like, I thought you just looked in the job ads. That's what I thought. And I was so fortunate early in my career to have a conversation with somebody who has been a mentor to me ever since. And I was complaining about my job. I hate it. It's so awful. What am I going to do? I got to get a new job. And he said, Hannah, write down a list of all of the companies you would like to work for and give it to me. And I will help make introductions inside those companies for you. He was older, wiser, more established in his career. And I didn't do that.
Why not?
Because I didn't know what companies I wanted to work for. And I couldn't get out of my own way. And so he never said anything to me about that, but he left that responsibility of getting out of my own misery in my court. And if I had given him that list of companies, he would have done something for me. But I didn't.
And you still, you still got where you wanted to go, but it took longer. That's the point. Yeah, you want to speed up the process. Obviously, it helps to get out of your own way. No, that's a wonderful point. Naveen, I'm seeing a question and I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is, do I take a position? Maybe I think you're talking about. I'm looking at your face. Okay, I'm looking at, maybe you're talking about internships. You're starting out in your career, so you're saying, is it good to have an internship with a good profile, a good vacancy without pay, or a not so good vacancy with pay? Do you get what you're saying? Do you have any views on that, Hannah?
You know what? I think there's so much more than just those two parts of it. What skills would you be learning? What's the reputation of the company? There's so many things to evaluate. Which one is going to possibly springboard you better? We don't know. You and I, Sonal, don't know. You're better off, Naveen, asking that question of somebody who holds a desired job, like that is in that next step career that you're looking for, and say, hey, which one of these two internships would you value more?
No,
We don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, I would say just just have an idea of what your job is going to look like when you work full time, and is this going to help you get there faster or not? And another suggestion, and I say it with kindness and I say it with love: stop asking people, because if it doesn't work out, you might use this as an excuse because she said so or he said so. Don't ask. Take responsibility. Whatever is going to happen, you're going to learn. And if it's great, you're still going to learn. If it doesn't go well, you're going to learn anyway. There's no such thing as failure. Don't be so scared to jump into the pool. You're kind of dipping your toes for a long time. Just jump in. It's going to feel cold for 30 seconds and you're going to be like, and then it's going to be fine.
You're so right. That's such a great way of looking at it. Absolutely.
So don't ask people, is the water cold? Is it 26 degrees? Just go, figure it out. Sometimes movement is the best answer.
You're
Hey,
right.
Angela, I love that you're so engaged. Angela, that's a great point. It's like I said, the nudge to get into the pool, or just like, nobody can force that, and because you might resent that person who forced you or, pushed you into the pool, but just do it. It has to
Because
come
it's
from
never as
within.
bad as we think, right? It's never as bad as we
But
think.
it's built up a lot, Hannah, in our brains. It's built up so much that the actual thing doing it is actually less scary than the thought of doing it. You know what I mean? So I see that we're on the hour. So last quick thing I want to say, Hannah. So before we go, we've shared so much today, other than our bright colors and festive season. What would you like people to take away? Maybe somebody joining us late, but what would you like people taking away before they leave?
Okay, so the 4 main points that I want to make sure that we reiterate today.
Go.
Finding clarity in what you're looking for so that you can communicate that clearly will help speed up your job search and make it easier for people to help you. Always be in the hunt for your next job. Never stop looking. Maintain relationships, because those are really going to help you throughout your career, not just now. So don't treat this like it's a once and done. Maintain those relationships and embrace curiosity and learning, because that is what life is all about. And that's going to help you make decisions that will take you to your next career.
Wonderful. And the clarity on what you want. If you don't know, it doesn't matter. Figure it out. do a free internship. You're changing careers. There's always ways to do it. Hannah has a crap load of blog articles on it on careersherpa.com. So definitely check it out.
.net, careersherpa.net.
Career, careersherpa.net. Find it and do it. I'm gonna quickly go and careersherpa.net. I take back what I
There we
said.
go.
Um, careersherpa.net. That's it. I'm gonna put it in the comments as well. Keep looking for your next job, even if you're really really happy there. You're not married. Remember that you're not cheating on them by looking for your next job. The third is keep those relationships, even when you think you don't need them. Keep in touch with them. And fourth is what life is all about. Curious mind, no judgment, always looking at what you can learn. Things are changing. What are those skills that you might need in your next job? You don't need them today, but you might need them in the next job that you don't have. So wonderful. This has been such pleasure, but so much fun and so much learning. So Gandharv, I see there's another question. I'm going to have to jump into the comments and answer that because I don't want to take more of Hannah's time. Hannah, thank you so much for your time. You've been so generous.
Sonal, you've been wonderful. This has been great. And I love your community here asking questions. Thank you all. This has
Thank you
been
so
fun.
much, and thanks for being such a good sport with the reindeer. Absolutely love it. Take care, guys. We love that you were here today. A very warm, best wishes for the Friday, and take care of yourselves and have a good weekend. Bye, everyone.